Welcome back to Crackpot Sports. We're back this week. We took last week off. We were just about ready to record, and the whole Damar Hamlin thing was going on. I didn't know. I wasn't actually watching the game. Were you watching the game?
No, I was actually trying to catch up watching highlights from the past week.
Yeah, I was getting everything ready, all set up, and I said, "Well, what's the score of the game?" So I just clicked on. I go, delay. I mean, I was like, I wonder why it's delayed. I wonder if it's weather. Is there a thunderstorm? Is it bad weather? And so I turn on the game. I go, well, there's an ambulance on the field. This must be bad, bad injury. And then when I found out what was going on, I said, you can see in the players' faces.
Mhm.
I said, I text you. I said, look, we can't. I don't want to go on.
Yeah, I turned on the game at that time because I was like, yes, I don't have to talk about the Dolphins losing to the Patriots. And then I turned on the game and saw the highlight of what happened to him. I'm like, uh-oh, that's really not good.
It's really, really bad. And what's amazing is he went home today. He left the hospital.
Just 1 week.
I cannot believe it. He had to be resuscitated twice. And I heard a stat on the radio that if you're not at a hospital, if you have to be resuscitated, the odds of surviving are at the most between 5 and 10%. If you're at a hospital, it's only 20%.
And then
So
what?
on
Like
TV, when
I
they
think
said that,
on the Ramblecast, like Chris and Boston was saying, like for every minute or something, you lose time. I think.
yeah, there's 350,000 people get resuscitated each year on average, and only, depending on where they're at, it's a small percent. So for Damar to be walking out of not walking out of the hospital, for him to leave the hospital is just amazing.
And just how long they were doing CPR on him? Like they were doing it for what, 25
9 and
minutes,
a half
30
minutes.
minutes?
Was it that long?
I thought it was like over 20 minutes or something.
Was it? It's just and you had people sit there and say, people on Twitter, there's so many stupid people say, screw that, play the game. It's like, I go, the guy could be dead.
Enough Skip Bayless.
Yeah, enough Skip Bayless. And then Skip Bayless is now saying, that's not what I was saying. Not what I was saying, But it just, I'm just happy for him. I mean, it's just, his toy drive did really well. It's over like 7 million or 7.5 million, something like that. Just a scary thing to see. And like I said, there's no way you could play that game again. Now, the NFL came out and said that they didn't say it would start in 5 minutes, but Goodell finally came out and said, well, the protocol is after a serious injury is to start the game 10 minutes after.
Roll a dead guy off the field, give him 10 minutes.
Yeah. Well, the protocol is after the ambulance gets off the field, you have 10 minutes to restart the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking at those players. I go, there's no way they can play that game. There's no, and the coaches said, screw it. I mean, I don't know if they got the whole thing right. It was, I think what I would have done is said, well, both coaches decided they weren't going to play the game. It's a tie. And I don't know if it would have mattered on this. It's home field advantage. I think it's fair what they did. Kansas City got the number 1 seed. If Kansas City and Buffalo both make the AFC Championship game, it'll be played at a neutral site. I mean, I don't know where it'd be played, but I mean, they're both cold weather teams, so it really wouldn't. It's not going to benefit. Now, say the Chargers go to the AFC Championship game, and well, I guess it'd still be at Kansas City, right?
It's only because KC is the number 1 seed.
Yeah, so say they play it at Indianapolis at the Dome, a Dome stadium. It's not going to affect. Both teams will have an equal. I think it should be in the middle between wherever the closest is between Buffalo and Kansas City. So
just so all the fans can get there, maybe like Minnesota or something.
Yeah, so everybody has a chance to get enough fans to go to the game. I mean, it should be an equal. I mean, you don't want to put it in. Go ahead.
It'll end up working out anyways because like you have so many good like offensive teams that you won't have to worry about weather. Like just have like play in a dome, have great conditions, let the offenses shoot each other out, like have a shootout.
You know what's going to happen this game will have, if it goes to like Minnesota, or they'll have like 70,000 fans there, that this will be the new thing, that the AFC and NFC championship games will be played on neutral sites, and you'll have to bid on it like you do the Super Bowl.
I think it makes obvious sense because that's what college football does.
Yeah.
Like you have the Rose Bowl, Orange Bowl, the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah.
Like
you're going to see the NFL do that because they can make a ton of money. You know, they could charge. Who wouldn't want to go see an AFC or NFC championship game?
Plus, it incentivizes more teams to like build new stadiums because like right now, as it is, like all right, you build a stadium, you get a Super Bowl. Like usually, that's how it works.
Right. Yeah.
Now you could just say you build a stadium, you get a championship game or a Super Bowl. So
yeah. So yeah, it's that was my first thought. I said, okay, the NFL, this is going to be unless say 30,000 people show up, they're going to this is not. But I guarantee you, if you have, you'll know a year in advance where the AFC or NFC championship game is going to be played, and you're going to. Hey, I want to go see that. I can't afford the Super Bowl, but say Super Bowl tickets are what, $2, $3, whatever it is, they're outrageous. Well, you can go to a championship game for $500, $600, $700. Have a good time there and make a whole week out of it. So we'll see what happens, but I guarantee you in the next year or two, that's going to be the thing.
I think so, yeah.
So we shall see.
Plus, this year it works out perfectly. Like, if Tua can come back from his concussion, and if Lamar Jackson comes back, every AFC team in the playoffs has a first-round quarterback. So even if you didn't follow these teams, if you're not fans of them, like you're like, all right, I'm gonna just go see some like great quarterbacks duke it out.
Exactly, because you have Jackson, Tua, Herbert, Lawrence, Burrow, Mahomes, Allen. Those are 7 pretty good quarterbacks.
Pretty stacked conference.
Now the NFC, what do you have?
You only have one first round quarterback, Daniel Jones.
Really, that's it?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, if you look at all
you got Brady, who was 6th round.
6th round pick, yeah.
Prescott, I think, was like 3rd or 4th.
Right, yeah. I think it was 4th
you have
round
San Francisco, who was like what, 5th, 6th round?
7th round. He was the last
7th round. Oh no, that's you're right. Yeah, he was 7th.
Brock Purdy.
Cousins. They took
3rd round pick.
Washington took RG3 with the 1st round pick.
And then took Cousins with a 3rd pick, right? Same draft.
And then Seattle, I think Geno Smith was a 2nd round pick.
Okay.
And then
AFC definitely.
Hurts is a 2nd round pick too.
Okay, yeah. AFC definitely has the better quarterbacks on paper, but yeah, that should be fun. We'll see what happens. Forgot what I was going to say. Lost my train of thought. But anyway, we got a couple firings so far today. Cards fired Cliff Kingsbury. Is it Kingsbury? Kingsbury. I can't read my writing. And Texans fired Lovie Smith. He should have lost the game.
I mean, they should have told him, like, hey, lose this game, we'll keep you around next year.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a great coach. You can't blame him for all the team doesn't have anything. And they're going out, and I go, are they really going to beat the Colts? Are they really going to go for 2 and beat the Colts?
They were going for it. Just like them in Detroit. They were like going all out to try to win the game.
I know what I was going to say. 2 teams I can't wait to watch next year, Detroit and Pittsburgh.
Everybody's saying Pittsburgh should have got in over Miami, and Detroit probably should have got in over Seattle.
Should have, but they didn't win enough games. You got to put yourself in position to not have to other teams. You want to control your own destiny, not have other teams do it. But Pittsburgh, that Pickett, he's pretty good. I think he's a good quarterback.
Looking pretty good. I think he finished the year 6-2 since he took over.
And he had a lot of late game comebacks. They have they got a good defense. Defense stays healthy. Put some more talent around that, offensively. And then Detroit has 2 first-round picks. They have the Rams first-round pick, which is the 5th overall pick, and their own, which I think is 17th or 18th.
Yeah, it
Something
should
like I
be
know.
just like right on the edge of like not making the playoffs, whatever.
Yeah, Pittsburgh has I think the 18th pick, and Detroit has. So they have 2 first-round picks, and they don't need a quarterback. I'd go with Jarrett Gott. I think he got him there. He's a decent quarterback, and I wouldn't waste my first-round pick. Maybe beef up that offensive and defensive line, and maybe get draft a speedy receiver. We'll see, but those 2 teams.
The only reason I think about drafting a quarterback is like you're paying Goff like what, 35 million, something like that,
you are.
where you can get like a rookie quarterback for so cheap now.
You can, but what if the rookie quarterback? I mean, look at last year's draft. You had Jones, I'm drawing a blank
Zach
on
Wilson,
but Zach Wilson. Yeah, none of the quarterbacks. Fields. Fields.
Trey Lance.
Trey Lance. If Chicago has the number 1 pick, do they go after a quarterback and trade Fields, or do they trade down to get more picks? Because I'm still not sold 100% on Fields. He's great running. He's a great runner, but of course he doesn't have the talent around him. So you have to, okay, is it him or is it the talent around him? I mean, if you have the number 1 pick and there's a John Elway type player out there, do you take that pick and trade Justin Fields?
It's like you restart the rookie window over, like you have Fields being 3rd year, or you go rookie and like reset your timetable. So or do you
you look at
get the best defense player, or best offensive lineman?
Next, you look at a lot of these quarterbacks we've mentioned: Tua, Burrow, Herbert. Next year will be their 4th year, and you know what? A lot of these guys can say, "Screw it, I'm going to hold out," because they can't do it the first 3 years. They can't hold out. But the 4th year they can hold out. They can say, "No, if I'm Justin Herbert, and people are coming to see, they win because of him. Another reason that he's the difference maker for them, and people go to those games to see Justin Herbert. I'm like, you're going to pay me now, but they're already over the cap for next year, so they're going to have to release some. They have to do some restructuring, but and Joe Burrow, same thing. I'd be like, I think I want to get paid now.
Of those 3 quarterbacks, I see Herbert being the one that might hold out. I can't see the other 2 holding out.
Joe Burrow?
Burrow, like he's got his receivers, good situation. Yeah. 2 is coming out to concussions. Like, really going to hold out with the
so he can't hold out. And I looked at the Chargers' schedule next year. It's brutal because I looked at their overall record this year of teams they beat. They had a total of 53 wins, 106 losses. So people go, they got in a roll. They did, but they were beating bad teams. We'll see. Anything can happen in the playoffs. Hey, I'm a Jacksonville fan this week, but anything can happen in the playoffs. But there's 5 teams could possibly looking for a new coach with some interim coaches. The Texans, the Panthers, the Cards, the Broncos, the Colts are 5 teams so far. I thought there'd be more firings today, to be honest with you.
I think depending on how the playoffs shake out, I think you could see an opening in Dallas or at the Chargers.
Problem with the Chargers is normally the Spanos family doesn't pay a lot of money for their head coaches because that comes out of pocket. That's not part of the salary cap. That's part of their bottom line. So I don't see them going, all right, we're going to go pay Sean Payton $25 million a year, give up some draft choices to have him come there. It would be the smart choice. I don't think Brandon Staley's a great coach. Now he could go on and win the Super Bowl this year, but I like yesterday when he was playing his starters, I'm like going, the hell are you doing playing? Why is Herbert still in the game? That game meant absolutely nothing to the Chargers, but he wanted to have some momentum going into the playoffs, which I get, and they lost the game with their starters playing most of the game.
But I was like, do you want momentum or do you want rest? Like,
yeah.
And then you have Mike Williams get hurt. And now he's like dealing with a back injury.
Yeah, they say he should play, but back injuries are tricky. You don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Bosa went down with an injury. It's just like I can't believe these guys are even playing. But it's we shall see. Now the Broncos, they should either sign Sean Payton, or Jim Harbaugh. They can't be messing around with a offensive or defensive coordinator. They need to go out and get themselves a proven winner, or they're going to be like, they could be like the Washington Commanders, who 6 years ago were the top 5 in attendance, and now they're at the bottom because they're so bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Ron Rivera is a pretty good coach, but the organization itself is so bad. But the Broncos have been, I can't remember. I saw a stat today. They've lost 15 straight to the Kansas City Chiefs. 15 straight games to a team in your division. I mean, that's like when Miami was losing to, was it Buffalo or
New England?
Miami, New England, yeah, losing to New England over and over again. I don't know. It just if I'm the Broncos, I paid a lot of money for that team. I go out and get me a name coach. You know, they could. They're not that far away. I think Russell Wilson's a better quarterback than what he showed this season, and they have some good receivers. They have good running backs. Good defense. So I think they just need a better coach.
I'm hoping McVay ends up there, because hoping he could salvage Russell Wilson and make him viable for fantasy football. And just like, you're paying him so much money, bring an offensive coach to help him out. And Russell Wilson is pretty close, like in style, a little bit to like Drew Brees, like a short quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. He has a good arm, and he has mobility. He has more mobility than I would say Drew Brees did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like I said, I think if I'm a coach, that Denver job looks pretty appealing to me. And I know people are like saying, "Oh, they trade all their picks away." I think they're pretty close. I mean, they lost a lot of games because they couldn't score, and we shall see. And then you were talking about, before we started, about the ring around the rosies from the Kansas City Chiefs.
They're just like playing around right now. They're just like having too much fun. They're like, all right, we got the one seed locked up. We're just gonna go out here.
I had no issue with it. I mean, like, going, of all the things now that people do, the celebrations in the end zone, the people doing snow angels, the players. Yeah, I mean, I go, this is something that offends you? I mean,
it is entertainment. I want to be entertained.
You know, and it would have worked if they didn't have a holding call.
Right.
But I go, come on, people. So all these players, there was like Denver players, I didn't like it at all. Oh. And then someone said, well, you should be more concerned that you've lost to Kansas City 15 straight times. But again, I know people, purists, are like, oh, that's just terrible. That's just horrible. Me, I had absolutely no problems with it. None.
Yeah, I had a great time. I favored it on Twitter.
There you go. And I like the Chiefs. I like what they're fun to watch. They're a fun team to watch. I mean, I no longer have a team. And it used to be that I hated the Chiefs. But now that I have the hate shield taken off, and I just can sit there and go, I like watching the Chiefs play. I mean, it's almost like watching the old Air Coryell teams. They just have so many weapons, and they can just and Mahomes throws the ball all over the place, and that's what makes them tough right now. Is because, you know, before it was Kelsey and I'm trying to blank on his name. Tyreek Hill. Yeah, they had two really good guys that you had to worry about. Now they got guys all over the place.
Yeah, spreading out.
So you can't just focus on one guy. So we'll see what happens. And we'll make our picks for the Super Bowl after we're going to do the wild card games now. We got Seattle, who has finished season 9-8 against the Niners, 13-4. I would think the Niners win this pretty easily. What do you think?
Yeah, Tampa Bay was pretty lucky to get into the playoffs. And
yeah,
San Francisco,
San Francisco is just – this is Seattle versus 49ers.
Oh, sorry. Wait, let me see. Oh, yeah. But even so, Seattle barely made it into playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, 49ers have so many weapons on offense, and Brock Purdy.
He's done solid. He's like filled in like fine.
Yeah, he hasn't had. I mean, playoffs are a different beast,
Mhm.
but when you have a defense like the 49ers, that takes a lot of pressure off you as a quarterback, I would think, because you know that, okay, if I make a mistake, my defense can pick me up because Nick Bosa is going to go kill the quarterback.
And then they've even been winning without Deebo Samuel, and he should be he'll be back. So
well, he came back a little bit.
Yeah.
Final game, but yeah, I mean, look at that. All the weapons they have. I mean, it's just, if they had a star quarterback, there's no way they lose the Super Bowl. With that defense, there's no way. But
especially with how shaky the NFC is. Like,
yeah.
Even
I mean, Philadelphia could give them a run, but the Niners are just clicking right now.
But you have Hurts, who's played one game in 4 or 5 weeks, and now he has a bye week again, so could be a little shaky. I can see him getting upset a little bit.
Could be a tad rusty. I mean, it's almost sucks that you go 13-4 like the Niners and you don't get a bye. That's the problem with this new, the new playoff thing where you added an extra team.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's kind of crazy when you think about it. But we're both going the Niners.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up, we have the Chargers at 10-7 versus the Jags at 9-8. Jags beat the Chargers earlier in the season. It's a good matchup. Jags are very physical. Chargers usually struggle against physical teams. Jags can run the ball. The biggest problem the Chargers have is they can't stop the run, and they're not good at running the ball. I mean, if I'm the offensive coordinator, I say, take us, Herbert, take us to the promised land.
Mm-hmm.
Open it up, just go. He's going to have to beat them, I think. I mean, the Jags have been playing good defensively. They got some good offense. Trevor Lawrence has played very well the second half of the season. I don't know. Who's your pick?
The Chargers are favored by 1.5.
Yeah.
But I think we had to have some upsets this weekend. I don't think it's going to go chalk. So I'm going to go Jacksonville here, thinking this is going to be one of the upsets.
I'm going to go the Jags because it's at home. And like I said, they're very good at stopping the run, which the Chargers can't do anyway. So the Chargers, it's going to have to be up to Herbert. They're very good at pressuring the quarterback. I mean, they got some beef up there. And I think they have enough offense, especially with running the ball, to keep Herbert off the field. Because I told you when the Dolphins lost to the Chargers, I said, you beat the Chargers by running the ball. Mm-hmm. You have to run the ball, and you have runners. But he didn't run the ball. He kept throwing the ball until it was, I don't know.
I would like Jacksonville much more if it was a 1 o'clock game, just so you have that time difference where it's 11 a.m. or 10 a.m. for the Chargers.
Yeah.
But
it's a short rest for the Jags. Had an extra day's rest. They played on Saturday this week. Chargers played Sunday. They have to travel cross country. So they're going to lose a day there. If Williams is hurt and can't play, I mean, now they're saying he can, that he's scheduled to play. But they're not saying they haven't said definitely he's going to play. Again, why he was playing makes no sense to me. Chargers have some good defensive players. They obviously have some good offensive players. They could easily win this game.
I mean, Chargers also lucked out weather-wise. It's much better to go to Jacksonville than play in Buffalo or Cincinnati.
Oh, yeah. Huge advantage. But again, if the Jaguars are smart, and I think they got the better coach too. I think the Jaguars have the better coach over Staley. Mm-hmm. But if Bosa comes back, he only played a few snaps on Sunday because he twisted his knee or something. He landed awkwardly. He was missed 12 games, 13, 14 games during the regular season. So he's not going to be at top shape. He looked winded in the beginning of it. Of course, it was Denver. So we'll see what happens. But I'm going to go with Jacksonville also. Next up, we have your Dolphins 9-8 versus the Buffalo Bills 13-3. Tua, we have no idea if he's going to play or not. I mean, I've heard nothing, so I don't think he is going to play.
Yeah, he's on still step 2 or 3 of the 5-step protocol. Like he's just doing like running and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So he's got a little bit of ways to go. He wants to play, and the Dolphins are hoping he'll play, but who knows?
Yeah, if this was old school, he'd be out there.
Right.
He'd be playing, but he's had 3 concussions this season. I mean, he's at the point now where he's got to give his brain a break. He's got
Right.
to he's got to take at least the rest of the season off. I mean, I know they're in the playoffs, but you risk your future. I mean, I can see if you were the favorite, if you had the number 1 seed, maybe you take a chance and let him come out there, but I don't know. I don't.
I mean, when he has played, those games with Buffalo have been pretty close, but
Yeah, they have been. Yeah.
if we're going with the third string Skylar Thompson, not going to be close.
No, he didn't look very good against the Jets.
Nah.
And the Jets were all but tanking that game when they started Flacco. I'm like going, oh, you don't want to win this game. You want to get a higher draft choice.
Jets versus Dolphins was definitely an example of football because it was only field goals.
Yes, it was. But I'm going to go. I say the Bills win.
I think we've changed up because this is obviously going to be a blowout. So Buffalo is favored by 10.5.
10.5.
Do we think Buffalo beats 10.5, or do the Dolphins keep it close under 10.5?
It's a playoff game, and anything can happen in a playoff game. The weather probably be cold, but
I think it's supposed to be in the 30s and like clear. I don't think it's supposed to snow.
No. I'll take the Bills and the points. I mean, giving the 10.5 points. Minus 10.5.
All right. I was going to say first, thank you, Coach Miami Mike. But if it's looking like Skylar Thompson's going to be a quarterback, so sadly, I think Buffalo wins by about 17.
Okay, so we're both going Bills. Yeah, if Skylar, if he could, the problem is they have a couple good running backs, the Dolphins, but if
now,
you can't throw the ball.
Yeah, but now Mostert broke his thumb, so he's not going to play.
Oh, I didn't see that. Oh, he broke his thumb.
Yeah.
Oh, gee, he's dumb. Yeah. Okay. They have no chance. No chance. That's just they made the playoffs. They saved Coach Mike's job.
I'm thankful they made the playoffs, but now I feel horrible that we're gonna get embarrassed. I feel like Pittsburgh should have been instead of Miami.
Does he keep his job?
Definitely, I think so.
Okay.
Because I think the only exception would be if Harbaugh leaves Michigan and wants to come back to the NFL, because he, the owner, Stephen Ross, is a huge donor to the University of Michigan. Like he's alumni, so he might have a connection there. But I think that would be the only exception.
Okay, because I don't see Sean Payton going there. I mean, he was rumored to go there.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, he was rumored to go there last year, right? With with Tom Brady.
That's why they lost the first-round draft pick.
You know, it's a shame because if Tom Brady and Sean Payton had gone there, it's probably they're probably the number 1 seed. Because Tom Brady can still play. He can still sling that ball, but all right, we're both on the Bills.
I'm sure, yeah, Brady wouldn't mind throwing to Tyreek Hill this year.
No, and Waddle.
Yeah.
All right, next up we have B-More at 10-7. Get Cincinnati 12-4. No word on Lamar Jackson. Harbaugh said, "I don't know." To me, it was only a sprained knee, right?
Yeah, I think so. But it's been like, what, 5 weeks?
At least 5 weeks. You think Lamar Jackson's just saying, screw it, I'm not playing.
You give me a contract, so I'm just going to wait for the playoffs.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Or he just says, I'm not going to even play in the playoffs. I mean, Harbaugh he didn't come out and say it, but he sounded frustrated because I don't know. I mean, if Jackson was in shape and played this game, they probably would have had the better record over Cincinnati if he had played the last, 5, whatever it's been, the last 5 weeks. I mean, B. Moore didn't even try to win the game on Sunday. They had this third string quarterback playing, and then they'd start their top running back.
Well, I think their second string quarterback was hurt, Huntley.
Yeah, Huntley. Yeah, he seems to get hurt a lot too.
But they had the chance for the coin toss. If they would have won, they could have had a home field advantage for this game.
I think if Lamar Jackson was healthy, I think they would have tried to win the game. Mm-hmm. With Lamar Jackson, it's like, okay, why am I going to send these players out? Let's take my chances on playing in Cincinnati, and
it's almost like you'll see this week, like if Lamar Jackson is out, you'll be like, all right, that was a pretty serious injury. Then you're like, if he plays, you're like, all right, maybe who's holding out for money, or like not risking more injury.
Yeah, because he obviously wants. He deserves a big contract, just like I mean, Kyler Murray got a huge contract. Deshaun Watson got a huge contract. Jackson is more exciting to watch than those two guys. I mean, I watch games because he's playing, because he's fun to watch. But I made a video before the season started. I talked about this before. If I was Baltimore, I would have traded Lamar Jackson for a boatload of picks, and just got that rookie quarterback contract where if he's not going to play and he wants guaranteed money, and you can't give guaranteed money to a player who is more of a running quarterback, even though he's a better thrower now than he used to be, but he's a runner.
Well, everybody watch that podcast, because now that's all I'm hearing right now is that everybody's expecting for them to franchise Lamar Jackson and trade him for more draft picks.
Like, yeah, but they probably should.
Yeah, like Bill Simmons. I've heard that like a bunch of times on his podcast.
Yeah, I said, and Baltimore fans are like going, "Oh, you're an idiot." I'm like going, he's a running quarterback. He could. I mean, are you going to guarantee him $250 million when he's?
But then it's also like you saw what like Seattle got for Russell Wilson.
Yeah,
you got a younger version of him,
right? And they got some picks, and they made the playoffs,
and they get the number 3 pick.
Yeah, the number 3 pick, which they could, again, is Chicago going to? Texans are going to draft a quarterback. Mm-hmm. We know that, but does Seattle move up to the first overall pick and draft a quarterback? It could be fun. I mean, it could be, or they just stick with Geno Smith, and
it'll actually be a fun draft to watch, because these teams can do anything at the top of the draft.
Right. Again, like we said earlier, is Chicago going to stick with Fields, or are they going to start over again? I don't know. I mean, there's teams out there that need quarterbacks. Someone would take Justin Fields. They'd take a chance, because again, I think he just needs more talent around him. Definitely needs an offensive line and some, good receivers that could help him win games. But anyway, so I'm going to take Cincy. I'm a big Joe Burrow fan. I think he's money. They're playing great football right now. They should win it. And especially if Lamar Jackson doesn't play, it shouldn't even be close.
Yeah, I don't think it matters if Lamar Jackson plays or not. I think Cincinnati wins pretty easily here.
Okay. And finally, we have the 12-5 Cowboys playing against Tampa Bay, who's 8-9, hosting a home game. I'll say this till I'm blue in the face. If you're under 500, first, you should never host a game. You should never be allowed to host a game. Second, you shouldn't even make the playoffs. But
I wouldn't mind that exception rule. I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, I just think it's bad for the game where you have teams under 500 playing. I mean, because that way Tampa Bay on Sunday would have had to won the game instead of just we'll play Brady
players,
yeah, you have to win the game.
You play to win the game.
Win the game. practice, and they still. I mean, Dallas isn't the best team in the league, but they're still 12-5. How does Tampa Bay get a home game? I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy. But having said that, I could see Tampa Bay winning the game.
You're like, it's Tom Brady. He's gonna go on another run.
It's because of Tom Brady. He's 46 now, 45, 46.
So do you think that the nation hates all the Florida teams for being in the playoffs? Jacksonville is hosting a game 9-8 against a 10-7 team. Tampa Bay is hosting 8-9 against a 12-5. And then Dolphins are just a shell of a team right now.
Yeah.
It was like,
so
eliminate Florida.
How did Florida get 3 teams? I mean, they only have 3 teams, and all 3 teams made it.
And they're probably the worst teams in the playoffs.
Yeah. I'll take Dallas on the road. But Tampa Bay, like I said, this could be Tom Brady's last game as a Buccaneer. I can see if the Raiders keep Josh McDaniels, I could see them making a big push to get Tom Brady. They're not going to bring back Derek Carr. There's no way.
Mm.
I mean, they benched him the last 2 games. They got to give him a huge contract, guaranteed next year. So no, he'll be gone. So anyway, I'll take Dallas in a close one.
All right, need to change up a little bit from you, and I'm calling another upset. Let's go Tampa Bay. Dak Prescott's looked very, very shaky this year. Lots of turnovers.
He has.
And so I'm hoping a couple, 2 or 3 interceptions from Dak, and Tampa Bay pulls out the upset.
I said Tampa Bay could win the game. I mean,
it's only a 3-point spread. Dallas is favored by 3.
If Dallas does lose, are they looking? Is Sean Payton going to Dallas?
I mean, he was a former coordinator there. It makes sense.
I mean, it's because he hasn't. I mean, I know Denver's reached out to him and talked to him. You know, they've talked. He hasn't signed. Could he be holding out for the Dallas job? I mean, if it's McCarthy, right? If he loses that game, and he's made some bonehead. He's not always the best coach.
Cowboys fans are ready for him to leave.
Yeah, they are. So could that be what holds up? Because Denver's asked to talk to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody. So would that hold up? Would Sean Payton be sitting there going, let me see what happens this weekend. If Dallas loses, Jerry Jones is getting older. He's not going to wait. He's not going to be patient. And he will pay me a lot of money to go coach Dallas.
Well, between 2 jobs, Dallas or Denver, I think I'd rather go Dallas, even though you have meddling Jerry Jones.
That's the problem. You have Jerry Jones, who's part of the reason why they have not been successful, for the last, 20, 25 years? I mean,
since what, 95, 96?
95, 96. Okay, 17 years. But still, he's a hands-on owner, and that always seems to be a problem because hands-on owners usually aren't savvy as far as how the game, how players work and all that stuff. So yeah, but being a coach in Dallas there's a hell of a lot more pressure in being the coach in Dallas than there is in Denver, I would think. Even though the fans of Denver, I mean, they're ready. I mean, they want a winner bad.
Well, it seems like both fan bases are desperate for a win.
But Dallas made the playoffs, and they made the playoffs last few years, right?
True, but Denver had a Super Bowl in 2016. Dallas hasn't had a Super Bowl since like 96.
Yeah, but Denver, I don't think has made the playoffs since the Super Bowl, right? It's been a long drought, and it's like I think they had last year was their first back-to-back losing, whatever it was. They had 2 seasons back-to-back losing seasons, and they had never had that before. Because playing in Denver is a huge advantage for the home team, but it hasn't been lately. All right, well, it'll be fun to see what happens.
So you're just not even gonna watch or pick the Giants versus Minnesota Vikings?
I forgot that I left it off.
You're like, Daniel Jones. I don't care about the game.
You know what? I had it written down on another piece of paper. I started over and forgot all about them. Dallas Giants versus Minnesota.
Sunday, 4:30. Just so Jack
4:30
knows when the
Sunday.
game is.
Yeah, that's good. Let's see. Giants have been playing well. Minnesota, I don't know. That's a team. What's their overall record? They're
13-4 for Giants and 9-7-1 for. 13-4 for
Yeah.
Vikings, 9-7-1 for Giants.
Yeah. Minnesota has to be the least confident 13-4 team in the history of the NFL. I mean, because you look at them, you go, because when they lose pretty bad.
Or going down 33-0 to Colts.
The Colts and come back and win, which was a great comeback win. With the Giants, Daniel Jones, does he? I mean, the rumor is that he's going to sign a big contract with the Giants are going to lock him up after this. I mean, they didn't pick up his 5th-year option. Kind of a mistake. But I think he's a good quarterback. Kirk Cousins, I think he has great weapons. It's a home game for Minnesota. I don't know what Cousins' contract is, but I think they have to win at least one playoff game, or you have to move on from him, right?
I think he gets another year. Like what are you going to go through? Like Tannehill?
I know. I'm saying that. It's like, okay,
their pick's going to be in the 20s, so they can't get a top rookie.
All right, yeah. I don't know. Just not. He looks great sometimes, and then other times you're like going, "The hell is wrong with him? How many concussions does he have?" I'm gonna take Minnesota. It's at home. They should win.
Another one we agree on. I think just having the home field advantage, being at home. I think Cousins will hold it down to like 1 or 2 interceptions, and
yeah,
we'll get the win.
Yeah, yeah. I said I'm not. I wouldn't put money on this game. Again, you look at the overall record. You go, if you just looked at the record, you go, "Well, Minnesota should win this game by 2 touchdowns."
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the Giants, all season I kept waiting for them to collapse. It's like the Jets. I kept waiting for them to collapse, and they did. And the Giants never did. They just kept playing solid football all season long.
One helpful thing for the Giants is they did rest their players, so they should be fresh coming into this game.
Right, and Minnesota didn't.
Right.
They played their players. Again, you can go back and forth with that, but to me, especially with the expanded season, 17 games, it's a long season, a lot of injuries. Like I said, I didn't know what Brandon Staley was doing. I just was like going, I don't. And Denver was taking shots. I mean, they didn't care. They were just hitting people, and they got a late hit on Herbert. I'm like right in his rib area. I'm like going, oh geez. I mean, he still has the bad ribs. I mean, they're healing up, but he's still. I go, what do you do? And then he sent him out there again. I'm not going, dude. If I was still a Charger fan, I would have been I would have been losing it, because there's no reason to have those star players out there. Eckler took a hit.
He's like, it's a huge advantage. We either get 5 or 6.
Yeah, but it didn't matter. Before their game, they already had the 5th seed locked up.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't matter. The game didn't matter at all. I said I didn't mind putting him out there for a drive or something like that. But when he kept putting him out there, Herbert, I'm like going, dude. I said on Twitter, I go, does he get a bonus with 11 wins? What's the deal? But I mean, again, you can make an argument if they would have won big. Say they beat Denver 30-13 or something like that.
That would have moved them up in the polls. They would have been like number 6 or 7 in the top 25.
Yeah. but at least you're having some momentum, even though it's Denver. but you played your starters and you lost.
Jacksonville would have been so nervous if they would have won like 30-13, like the final week. They would be like, "Oh."
Well, I like all the Charger fans are criticizing Jacksonville for struggling against Tennessee. The Chargers only beat the Tennessee by 17 points and had to win on a final field goal in the last second of the game. I go, do you not remember you guys struggled against the same team? I don't know. Crazy fans are. But that's all I got. You have anything else?
That's all I got.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. Are we going to be back next week after the playoffs?
Sounds good.
You want to do Sunday or Monday? I'll let you pick.
Probably Monday because we got a Monday night game.
Oh, Christ. I forgot about the Monday night game. We didn't even talk about that one, did we?
No, it's Dallas
versus
Dallas, Tampa.
Dallas, that's right. Dallas versus Tampa. Should they have a Monday night game in the playoffs?
They should have a game separate it out, like spread it out, just so every game gets a spotlight.
But now, say either team wins, they get one less day of rest. I mean, what if you play a team that played on Saturday?
Most likely, they're going to play Philadelphia. So, does it even matter?
I guess not. Anyway, I got a Monday night game. That's just crazy. All right, we will talk.
It's all about TV.
Monday. Oh, you want to do Tuesday night? Would Tuesday night work better for you?
Tuesday would work. You don't do the Ramblcast?
No, probably it'll either be Wednesday or Thursday, I think.
Yeah, Tuesday works.
All right, Tuesday at 9:30. What works?
9:30.
9:30. All right, Tuesday at 9:30. We will be back. Thanks for everyone who joined us in the chat. We got no chats, no comments,
no Randy,
but,
no Ed the Mailman.
Yeah. Ooh. All right, guys, and no other people, but I'll leave it at that.
No Fizzlehoff.
No Fizzlehoff. No Ed and other people arguing forever. All right, guys. We'll be back later on. Bye, everybody.
See you next week.